All right, thank you. Thanks a lot. So, hi guys. I have previously introduced myself. The name is Barna, and I'm going to talk to you guys about programming. Well, but what is programming? You might ask. Well, one good entry point to this is not the previous slide, but the next one, thank you. Is from the point of programming languages, maybe. We can talk about specific programming languages a lot. There are very, very many of them. You can see on this slide a few, definitely not a comprehensive list. And they all do basically the same thing. They are used for different purposes, for sure. So, for example, people programming in Java and people programming in Visual Basic are probably not accomplishing the same tasks, but they are all doing one thing that is the same across all programming languages, is that they are giving instructions to the computer. So imagine you are a person, you are talking, you can talk to your peers, you can talk to other people, and they will understand you. But you cannot really talk to a heap of metal. So a computer is basically just a lot of metal and plastic and maybe a little glass. But we have to find a way to talk to computers and to instruct them to do what we want them to do. And so people, programmers, have come up with programming languages. And what you see here, well, most of them anyway, are what's called high-level programming languages. Basically to talk to the computer in a way that is sort of like real speech or written text. And in order for you to become a developer, you should be able to use one or two of these programming languages. And going to our next slide, what we are gonna talk a little bit more today is web development. So putting things on the internet and having them available for other people to read. And the web uses HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in order to work. So these are the programming languages, or well, two of them are programming languages, or can be called programming languages. And HTML, well, what is HTML? Guys, if you could, please put into the chat if you've ever heard before what does HTML stand for? Yeah, it's a markup language. Yes. So what HTML does is basically markup text to carry some more meaning, to give text a little more structure for the computer to be able to read it better, I guess, or interpret it better. Yeah, so the first thing we're gonna do is do some HTML work to get a basic grip of how documents on the internet are structured, and then we're going to use some CSS And I'm not going to ask you guys to tell me what CSS is. Going to just spoil it for you. It's cascading style sheets, and they are for styling. So we are going to use then CSS to make our HTML documents a little bit more pretty. Yeah. And after that, we're going to use JavaScript to do some calculations, because even though you can make some calculations in CSS, it's not really made for that. And we are going to give some more functionality to our I guess website with JavaScript. So we are going to program our website with JavaScript. And as you can see, this says there is front-end and back-end development in web development. There is another part of a web developer's job is to remember data. So yeah, so whenever we make something pretty, a document with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, somebody on the internet can take a look at it and, he can say that is pretty. I would maybe like to contribute to it. So I would like to put a new paragraph on it, or make it remember something, a text, a number. Maybe I would like to send my password to it. And that information that needs to be stored somewhere, and that is the backend, where we store stuff and where we can make some more complicated calculations, where it can, for example, calculate if one of our users or one of the people that would like to see our document even has the right to look at the document. And that's backend development for you. And we are going to also do a little bit of backend development, but not in the way that you would think. So we're not going to use code for our backend. Rather, next slide, please. We are going to use something that's called low-code development for establishing a backend for our front end that we created, and we are going to have a low-code platform remember what we just wanted to save. So what we talked about previously with HTML, with CSS and JavaScript, that's called pro code development. And there is another side to software development that is a little bit newer, and that is low code. It's platform-based development. Some stuff over the years, developers, so people that wrote code, have noticed that some stuff that they are doing it over and over and over again. So for example, the thing that I just said, that we need to store information, so we need to create something, a structure or a place for us to store information. That is a task that is done a million times, and it's almost always very, very similar. And so that they created tools for us to basically automate these tasks, or at the very least make them much easier, or not needing any coding. So with low-code tools, we have the possibility of focusing on stuff that we actually want to invent. So new ideas, our business can be the focus, instead of things that are done always, and they are always similar. So the actual tool that we are going to use for our backend is called ServiceNow. It is a low-code platform, and it's one of the bigger ones at that. So it's been, I don't know, it's been around for more than 10 years now, and it is a cloud platform. It is a toolbox. It has 1,000,000+1 functionalities, but the ones that we are going to use are its capability to store data and store and save data, and to actually show us HTML and CSS code as well. So next slide. Today's goal, after all this talk, what are we even going to do? Today's goal is to create a newsletter sign-up page. So we are going to create a document that's going to be a page somewhere on the internet that people can put their first name and email into, and then they can click the sign up button. And when they click that sign up button, that information that they just put into the first name and the email fields are going to be saved, and it's going to be stored in our ServiceNow instances. So that's what we're going to do. On the next slide, we are going to create the look and feel of the page with HTML, CSS. We are going to learn some JavaScript in the meantime, learn a little bit about how data is usually stored in backend applications or in databases, if you will. And then we are going to put it all together in ServiceNow. So let's code. If you would kindly please give over the screen share. Yes, thank you. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And I'm going to ask you to navigate to a website that is not ServiceNow, at least not yet, but that is called CodePen.io. I'm gonna just quickly put that into the chat so you do not have to type in if you don't want to. So whenever you're going to go to open your browser and type in CodePen.io, you are not going to land on a tab like this, but you're going to land on a tab like this one, much like this one, maybe a little different. So yours is not going to have a logo, but it's going to have a sign up button on the right, and going to have a maybe start coding or something like that on the left. If I'm correct, if I go to Edge where I'm not signed in, I just go to CodePen. Yep, so it's going to have a button like this, start coding or sign up here. If you want, you can sign up, but you definitely don't need to sign up for CodePen to be able to follow today's instructions. You can just hit start coding, and then an editor will open where you will see 3 different tabs, one titled HTML, one CSS, and one JavaScript. Sylvia is asking whether they can code through Visual Studio Code. For sure. Certainly, if you would like to use a different editor, you are more experienced with this, you are free to use another one, but you will not see immediate updates of your code unless of course you know how to do that. All right, if everybody's on the editor page, so if you're seeing these three windows here, then please put a 1 in chat. All right, so I see a lot of people were able to open the editor, but some people have not. So let's go through that again. Just navigate to codepen.io. So that is codepen.io. Hit enter. And if you have done that, you should be on a page. Yeah, all right. Similar to this one, that's gonna look like, just give me a sec. Just like this, where you can hit the start coding button. So up in the left, start coding, which will put you into the editor. All right, and well, first of all, we are going to jump into HTML code. So on the top, you can see, I'm just going to collapse my CSS field for now. Or wait, no, I'm just going to collapse my JavaScript field for now. You can do that. Oh, Miriam, I'm sorry if you cannot hear me. I think the rest can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. All right. Thank you. So I was going to talk about HTML code with you really quickly. HTML code is made up of tags. What are tags? Tags are individual containers for data on the internet. So how does a tag look? A tag looks as the following. It has an opening and a closing bracket, and it has a name. So a tag name might be P or H1 or body. That's something that you are going to see a lot. And a tag also has a closing tag. So for example, a paragraph of text on the internet is in a p tag, and the p tag has two parts, has the opening part and the closing part. Whatever comes within the two tags is the content of that tag. So within this p tag, I can write hello world, and after a little refresh, on the bottom of my screen, I'm going to have my very first, well, web document, website, which contains only the paragraph, hello world. But I have written my first HTML code. So next thing that we should definitely talk about is nesting tags. So in HTML, we are describing the structure of a web page. And well, if we only have tags that come after each other, so for example, if I would like to have 2 paragraphs, I can put that right under the first one, and bam, there are 2 paragraphs in the document. But there is more stuff that I can do with tags, and I can put tags inside tags too. So for example, if I would like to have a word that is bolded out, that is with a stronger font. For example, in the first paragraph, in the first hello world, I could say, let's make the hello bold. Then all I have to do is put another pair of tags, so an opening and a closing tag around hello. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do open and close bracket, put B within them, and I'm going to go put the cursor after hello, and I'm going to have /B, close that tag after the hello word. So if I've done that correctly, and I did, then I put hello in a B tag, and that B tag is in the first P tag. So only the first word in the first paragraph of the of my website is bolded. All right, let's everyone try to do the same. And if you were able to create the same words and the same bolded out hello in the hello word, put a 1 into the chat. All right, looks good. Looks like everyone can follow, and the code is working for you guys as well. That is really great. So we are going to have to take a look at some more tags that are going to tell a bit more about our code to the browser, to the website that's reading it. So what I would like to do is have a nice title for my page. And obviously, I could definitely put all my title and all my and everything in bold and in a paragraph. And I could also give it a little more size if I wanted to. We will definitely take a look at how to give it more size later. But there is a built-in tag for that. Actually, a combination, well, not a combination, actually a bunch of tags that are called headings. So these are H1 through 6. So I can go and create a new h1 tag on top of my page. That's going to be the title of my page. And it's going to spell what I will want to have on my newsletter sign up form. So newsletter sign up form. And as you can see, the browser, the website, it already knows that whatever is in an h1 tag should be bigger and bolder. So I did not have to give it any other instructions. It already knew. That is awesome. Well, I would have to, I would like to also give some instruction to my users that are going to take a look at this form, and I would like to tell them that they should sign up in order to receive some awesome updates. And I am going to do that similar to my hello world text here. So I'm going to create a paragraph. So I'm putting a p tag and a closing p tag here. And in there, I'm going to tell my users to fill the form to receive some typos here and there, to receive awesome updates and exclamation mark. Well, but this p tag, well, it's kind of boring. What if I could make it slanted? So what if I could make it italic? Well, we do have a tag for that as well, and it is an I tag. So that is I and closing tag I just before the closing p tag. Okay, well, we should also talk about, because we're on the internet, about spaces. So if I want to start a new line in this paragraph, so fill the form to receive some awesome updates, it is not going to work if I'm just putting an enter here. That's not doing anything. Unfortunately, when our code is understood by the program that is reading it, and it's translating it to forms on the page, these enters are not taken as a new line character. So we are going to have to use another, well, I guess you can guess it already where this is going. We are going to use another tag in order to do that. And that tag is a break tag. It's a line break. So it is a tag that is a little different from the others because it is a BR tag. This tag is different because it does not have a closing tag. So we can use BR tags without another /BR in there. Yeah, see, this is working in a different way. So it's understanding it to be two BRs after each other. It's not what I want to do. I just want to use one BR tag, and because I like if our top lines are longer than the bottom ones, I'm just going to put it after receive instead of, yeah, if from form. Yeah, so I think that looks good. This is the way that we can use BR tags. But, well, you might have the question now. Well, a new line was not understood by the browser, but spaces are. Well, at least one space is. What happens if I put more spaces in there? Well, we are a little lucky, because even if we put a myriad of spaces, even if we put like 1,000 spaces in here, the browser is just going to look at us and be like, well, man, I don't think that's needed. I don't think you meant to put 100 spaces there. I'm just going to be nice to you and shorten it to 1 in the final result. So remember, we cannot make new lines appear on our page in the code. Instead, we are going to have to use BR tags, and we cannot make more than 1 space in our text that is going to appear on the page, unless we know some nice workarounds, but I'm not going to show you that, because, well, you should stick to 1 spaces for now, and later on, if you decide that this is something you would like to do, then you can figure out how to put in more spaces than 1. So now that we have our texts from the workshop, like, yeah, there was a dia in here. So please sign up to receive awesome content, and the newsletter sign up page. That looks good. Now we are going to create the actual form, because believe it or not, in HTML, people have made forms already. That's sorry, I'm kind of lost. Oh, right there, we are here. And, well, a lot of people wanted to make forms before, so they were like, all right, we're going to create this functionality in HTML. You can create forms just with tags. So what are we going to need? We are going to need something that is going to be the form. And, well, again, I'm being kind of predictable here. A form is going to be represented in code by a form tag. So that's opening and closing bracket, and I'm not from, but form. And yes, this tag is going to be the same as most other tags, in that it's going to be needing a closing tag as well. So form. So opening tag and closing tag / form. All right. Well, what are forms usually made of? Well, usually we have some text that indicates what information is the form going to handle. So what information do we want to fill in the form? In this case, it's going to be the first name and the email address of the person that's signing up. So in forms, instead of using p tags, what we usually do is use something called labels. And, well, labels are going in the label tag. So it's label. and slash label. And in that, I can say what information I'm going to look for. And that's going to be the first name. And now that I actually typed something in the tag, it does appear on my page that I'm actually editing here. So after I have my first label, then now I would like to create an input field, something, a place for my users to, well, use their keyboards to type and to enter information. And those fields are represented by input tags. And input tags are also a little different from most tags, as in they do not require a closing tag. The only thing that you should be doing is at the end of the input tag, put in a space and a slash. And that's called a self-closing tag in HTML. And it tells the browser that, yeah, that's the end of that input. It's not going to need any more another closing tag. It's just going to have this nice self-closing tag at the end. All right. Well, the input tag is going to have to be targeted. So whenever a human is reading this, well, he understands, all right, the first name is here, so therefore I should put Barna in here, or whatever my name is. But whenever a computer is going to receive this form, the information from the form, they are going to need a little additional information. They are going to have to somehow know that this is supposed to be the first name. This is supposed to be that data that the user is putting in here. Therefore, in HTML, inputs are 99% of the time are named. And the way we can name these inputs is in the input tag, we can give it an attribute. So there are multiple types of attributes that we can give to any HTML tag. Listen here, because this is important. But the input tag has the name attribute that is very, very usual on an input tag. And this should be something that a computer can easily read. So usually when we are doing any type of programming tasks that involve text, so when a computer has to understand text, it is best not to use any national type of symbols. So in Hungarian, in my name, we have the accented A, the A, and I think in Czech and Slovak you have a lot of those as well. And also to avoid using spaces in there as well. So for a name, I like to choose something that is easy to remember for me as well, and that is easy to read for the computer too. So for this input name, I'm just going to put first name, one word, nothing else. And not gonna put a typo in there. So first name, one word continuously. All right, and that's pretty much how my form input should look like. if you were able to create this input with me and you see the same page in the bottom here, put a 1 in chat. Yes, Patrick, there will be a record of this. All right. All right. Well, it looks like all of you, or mostly all of you, were able to create this little page. And Jasmine is asking, I am seeing the same, but how to write a name inside the box? Well, it is possible in multiple ways. The easiest one is you can definitely just click in there and write your name. It's gonna stick in there. But we'll see another way later on, or well, we might see a later on way where we can put names in there with code, with JavaScript. But also, there is a way to put a placeholder in there. So some information that's displayed before our users click on it. And that's going to be the placeholder. Placeholder attribute. So if you would just like to see a placeholder there until your users write another name in there, you can definitely do that using this attribute. So I'm just going to put placeholder your name here, please. Oh, well, yeah, it does fit, so it can stay. All right, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to copy this. So both the label and the input, and make another one. So another label and another input here. And I'm just going to quickly revert these so they don't ask for a first name, rather they ask for an email here. And of course, I'm going to rename my input as well. So I'm going to say this is an email, and the placeholder is, let's say, something at example.com. Wait, not com, but com. All right, something.example.com. Yeah, so yeah, this is starting to look like that picture from the presentation. So that is good, but it's still missing one thing, one component that's not in there, and that is the sign up button. So I actually want to be able to send this information as well to the backend. And I'm going to be able to do that using another input, believe it or not. So if I'm doing an input and I'm giving it an ending as well. Well, I have another text input. That's like, I don't want to input text here. Rather, I would like to input just the intention to submit the form. So these tags, all these input tags, they have another attribute that's called the type attribute. If you give an input the type submit, it's not going to act as a text input. So it's not going to look for a name or an email or some other text type information, but rather it's going to act as a button. So it knows, yeah. So Monica is having a question: is what if we want to move the email form under the name one too? So if we want to move the email input under the first name input, well, this is exactly what we're going to look at very shortly whenever we are writing CSS. So yeah, we have our form. Our form contains everything that it said it should contain. The next thing is that, well, I mean, it's kind of ugly. This is not font, so this text is not looking the greatest. It's kind of old-timey. These input fields are like all over the place, the submit buttons over here. So we would want to make them come in order from top to bottom rather than from left to right. And if you remember, we were talking previously about CSS and how CSS is made so we can make our websites, make our documents look more good, look prettier, I guess. This is exactly what we can do with CSS. But how does CSS look? So if you remember, well, you can actually see as well, HTML uses tags and data inside those tags in the form of text to display some stuff on the page. CSS is very different. With CSS, what we want to do is target some part of the page, of the HTML page. So if we want to target, for example, the H1 tag on the HTML, so our title, we have to use something that's called a CSS selector to target that and tell it to, well, for example, have a pink background or to have a certain text size, so font size that is different from the default one. So fortunately for tags, if we want to target all the same tags on the page, so if we want to target all H1s or all Ps or all forms, and it will come in later handy when we want to target all the labels or all the inputs, we can just specify that HTML tag. So if I want to target all the H1 tags, then I only have to say H1. This is what's called a selector. I just selected all the H1s. And then what I'm going to have to do is put curly braces that's right Alt and B and N in Hungarian keyboards. I am not sure about Czech ones, I'm sorry. But you should be able to find those, hopefully. And within these braces, I have to specify CSS properties. So a property is something that an HTML tag carries with itself, and it describes how that tag should look on the page. So if I want to make the background of my newsletter sign up form title here purple, I guess, then I can say that the background color, and I should not be using all capitals, background color should be purple. And then I get this very, very ugly row here, which I'm going to remove in just a second because I would not like my form to look like this. But I think it's a good explanation on how selectors, braces, and properties with values work together to create style on a website. If you guys were able to follow along with me and already have a purple H1 on your page, put a 1 in chat. All right, that's great. Well, if we have multiple properties that we would like to change, so maybe my H1s are not big enough and I would like to make them bigger, then I would want to put another property here. So with CSS, for one selector, you can have probably as many, do not count me, do not quote me on that, but a lot other properties that is also going to be changed if you write it here. So you do not have to make a selector and then a property and then another selector. So you do not have to create multiple ones. Do not do this. Just use whatever's in the code block. So whatever is in between these braces, just start a new line and say font size, not size, but size. And here we are going to have to use some measurements. So on the internet and on your screens in general, a common measurement is pixels. So in CSS, you can specify in the exact pixel size you would like your page to display your HTML elements as. So I'm going to say that the font size of this should be, for example, 50 pixel. And whenever I said that it should be 50 pixel, this became a little bigger. I can say it should be 5 pixel, and that is going to be miniature. Nobody is going to be able to see that. So I'm just going to give a cool 45 for this one, keep it this way, and remove the purple. I don't want the purple. All right. So if I got rid of this background color, I changed the font size. Well, what I would maybe like to do is, well, change the font as well. So not just the size of it, but I should maybe make it cooler. So maybe make it more like this, a sans serif, it's called. So something that does not have those tiny little legs and feet at the end of the letters. And what I'm going to use to do that is the font family property. So if I want to target everything on my page, I have a few options. I can select something that's called the body tag, or I can select the HTML tag. That's probably also going to work. And I can select, what is that? That is a little star. So I can say star, and that will select everything. I'm just going to stick with selecting the body. And the body is something that we haven't wrote in our HTML, but trust me, it's around there somewhere. Actually, it's invisible here, but it's around what we wrote here. So before the H1 and after the form, there is an opening and the closing body tag that the computer is putting in there for us. And in the body tag selector, I can say font family. And I have a few ones that is probably going to work for everyone. So I can say it's Helvetica. Yeah, even I made a typo, but the computer was smart enough to know that it's going to be Helvetica. Or I can say that it's Arial. Yeah, those are pretty similar. Actually, Arial, I think it was made by Microsoft because they didn't get a license for Helvetica for cheap enough. So they just made their own font instead. So Helvetica is built into most browsers. So it's going to show up. Well, it looks a little better than the previous one, but also, and you don't have to do this after me if you don't want to, but for those that feel a little more daring, we can go to Google Fonts. So open a new tab and go type in Google Fonts into your browsers. And it's going to be the first search result here. And we can choose one of these extremely awesome fonts here. So maybe Bebas. Bebas New is something that my graphics artist friends were using a lot, maybe like 5 years ago, but not a lot anymore. But it was pretty trendy just a few years ago. So I remember I like it. And in the, well, of course, I clicked on it. And after that, I have in this right panel some code here that I'm going to use for my code to get into, for this font to get into my document in my CodePen. So I'm just going to click on this import button here, or well, I guess this is an input as well, import input. That's a radio button actually. And I'm just gonna copy this without the style tags. So you can see some HTML text here, but the text that's between there. And I'm going to put that in my CSS. Actually, I'm going to put that on top of my CSS. And now there is an import statement here. remember, you don't have to do this. If you find this this hard for some reason, you feel free to skip this and experiment with it later after the workshop if you would like to. All right. Where do I import it from? This is importing it from the servers of Google. So Google has some big computers somewhere else, and they are feeding all these fonts to people. All right, so if you didn't catch the place on the side in Google Fonts, if you see all of these fonts, you choose one that you like, and then you click on it, then this left panel, right panel, I'm sorry, it's going to open. And after that, if I have the import, then I am able to use that, use this Bebas new in my CSS code. So instead of Helvetica, I will be able to write Bebas new. And yes, I'm sorry, I missed that one, is that I need to select actually the families. I think I have another one selected from before. Yeah, it's Open Sans. I'm going to remove that and click this select this style button here, and then gonna go over to import and copy that code that gets generated there. So I said this is not for not mandatory in order to be able to progress with this workshop. So now if I have my Bebas new, I can use that. So I can say that for my my body, let's change everything in the font family that we are using to Bebas new, and yeah, and it just realizes that, yeah, all right, it's all Bebas from now on. Everything that we are going to put on the page is now going to be Bebas. So that's not maybe the best looking one. So I'm going to keep the body as Helvetica, and I'm just going to go into the heading. So I'm just going to change the heading to Bebas. So I'm going to say, all right, yeah, you are definitely free to experiment with this one and find the ones that you like the most. So I just put in here that the H1's font family should be Bebas new, but oh wait, well, it did not change it. Why would that be? If you go into details about CSS, everything that you write in CSS happens in order. So this one, this H1 definition, style definition, I guess, is happening when I put the correct code in. So there was a missing comma, and until it's not correct, this is not understandable for it. So it does not understand what's happening here because there is no other rule. The comma is, or colon. This is where did you copy the font line that you put to CSS? I copied that font line from Google Fonts. Somebody can definitely shoot you a link to find that one, but it's going to be select your font, then select this style and go to import. There you can import them. So if we have our fonts, then there was a question previously about how do we make our first name and email not be on the same row. So how do we put them under each other? And there is something in CSS and in website design that's called the display mode of HTML text. The display mode is variant between each HTML tag. Sometimes it's inline and sometimes it's block, and sometimes it's inline block and sometimes it's flex, but we are going to stick with inline and block today. And an example of an inline element is an H1 element. So this heading is always going to fill the whole screen. So doesn't matter if I put a p tag after and I write something in it. That's always going to come right after the p tag, after this one. But the opposite of it, so remember, an H1 is display in line. Something that's not in line, but something that's block is a label. So this first name is in the same, wait, no, sorry. I am mixing these up. So the name is telling, so the H1s are actually block. And the labels and the inputs are in line. So I can target my labels, and if I am telling them that their display mode, display, is in line, then nothing happened. Nothing should happen. These things come in line after each other. The label and the input are on the same line. But if I change my label to be a block as well, same as the H1, then it's going to take the whole width of the window, and therefore anything that comes after it is going to be placed under this element. So in order to put them on different lines, I am just going to tell that every label should have display block. And because I want the submit one to also be placed under it, I'm just going to say that all the inputs should be display block as well. Nice. It did put them under. So yeah, I'm getting closer, definitely getting closer to my end goal of having this, or at least something similar to this as a sign-up page. But wait, well, now I wrote display block twice and nothing else. Could I maybe shorten that a little bit? I'm going to show you a quick trick. If you want to apply the same CSS to two different tags, or two or more actually, you can use the selector with a comma, and it's going to apply to those. So I have label and input both on display block, and voila, it's still working. All right, well, this is looking nicer, I guess. But the thing is that, well, I would like some space here as well. This thing is not so nice. So there is, it's a lot of stuff in a very little space. So I am going to give a little bit of margin or padding, whichever you prefer. Oh, this will work. Well, both of them will work here, to my labels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some space between my inputs and my labels. So for my label, I'm going to give a little bit of margin at the bottom, margin dash bottom. And I can do that in pixels as well. So I'm going to do maybe 5 pixels. All right. If you can see, they moved a little. So that's good. That looks better already. But I would also like for my inputs to have some margin on the bottom as well. Maybe the same amount. Well, couldn't I just put this rule right over here? Of course I could. And now, with those grouped together, I have a form that looks, yeah, I think that looks better. Definitely looks better than it did before. All right. So if you guys were able to create the same spacing for your form, put a 1 in chat. I like your thinking, Joseph. All right, looks to me like most of the people could definitely follow. That is nice. So then, you know, just as you can do the bottom, if you would like, you can move stuff to the left, to the right, and on the top as well. Not going to do that because we're running a tight schedule here. But if you would like, I will show you one other thing with which you can set your margins, so set your spaces between your elements a little easier, is you can do, instead of margin bottom, you can just say margin, and you can specify 4 numbers here, so 4 pixel counts. That is going to apply to first your top margin, then to your right margin, then to your bottom margin, and then to your left margin. So just imagine the clock going around, and then you're going to understand. So if I want to make bottom 5 pixels, I'm going to say it should be the third number that's 5 pixels, and the rest are 0. And this way, I can delete the above. And it's not gonna stay the same. What up? Is it top? Left? Oh, sorry, not the third one, but the second one. Yeah. And not pixel. Wait, it's pixels, it's not XPs. Yeah, pix. Yeah, so the bottom is going to be the third one for sure, but it's pixels and not XPs. So pixels it is. Well, this way, I can change all 4 numbers, but I can stay with the same rule. So what I'm gonna do next is, well, maybe give a little style to my button. My input type button, my input submit button is not blue. Here it should be blue, and it should be a little bigger maybe, and it should have white text. So I have a little problem because so far I've only been using the HTML tags to select them. But if I say input and the background and set the background to blue, then all of these are going to be blue as well. And I do not want that. So I will need something that is more specific. I will have to have a way of targeting a solo individual, only one HTML element from my page. And fortunately, the people that made HTML already had in mind this, this functionality. So they created the ID attribute. You can give an ID attribute to any HTML tag on your page. So you can give an ID to a form, a P tag, an I tag, an H1 tag. And then if you have your ID, which can be anything, basically any text, I'm just going to call mine, well, button, and let's say submit button, submit button. Then you can use that ID that you just gave. So it's the attribute name ID equals submit button. You can give that into the CSS. You can plug that into the CSS. You can say that you want to target that ID and that ID only with the following rules. And the way to do that is to use a hashtag character. So hashtag submit button, and well, yeah, I had a typo in here. So submit button without the Z. And any CSS rules that I'm writing here are going to be applied only to this element. So only to the submit button. Let's say I want it to be blue. So I'm going to say that the background color is blue. And damn, that is a blue, that is a very blue button, maybe a little more blue than I would like it to be. I see some people have raised hands. Okay. If you have any questions, definitely hit the Q&A panel. So the question and answer panel where you will get answers from our mentors straight. So yeah. In continuing to work with the submit button, I want to make it a little less blue. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use Google to get like a lighter blue that's closer to the closer to this one. And I see for a lot of you, it seems like CodePen is down. That is unfortunate. Yeah. Whenever you're, yeah. Oh, damn. That's for a lot of people. Maybe that's a local local thing in Czechia. Whoa. All right. So if you reload your page, if you can take a moment, I will paste my HTML and CSS code into the chat, and you can copy it from there and continue. There you go. So I'm going to continue and look for a little less blue. So I'm going to open Google and I'm going to say color picker. And Google has supplied us with this very nice color picker where it's actually on the blue. Well, Tom has a question. Oh, can we use light blue? Yeah, certainly. We can tell CSS to make it light blue, but that's too light blue for me, you know. So I'm going to take another color, and I'm going to use what's called the hex code of that color and use that instead of the phonetical name. So instead of the light blue name, I'm just going to say this should be hashtag, yeah, this number, something like this. Well, then the next thing is I'm going to make this, oh no, you guys cannot copy paste my code. Is that what you mean? That is unusual. It should be able to F5. Yeah. So try refreshing. It should work. So next one that I'm gonna do is make the color of the submit text. Okay. I'm going to make the text white. So in order for the submit to be white, I do not have to say anything like font, color, white, or something like this. It's just color. There we go. And what is it exactly that's not working, you guys? Is there a way that we could get, yeah, we lost codes and can go back. All right, I'm going to, yeah. So I think it should work, but if it doesn't, I'm just going to very quickly create a text file for you guys with these exact codes. And it's going to be HTML, CSS, .txt. And I'm just going to put that in to this, this chat where you can download that from, and it should be all fine and dandy. So where is it? File, save as. Ah, it's in the service now. Yeah, folder. Sorry. So yeah, just sent the text here. You can click on it to open. It's going to download it to your desktops, and you can go from there. Yeah. Oh yeah, and also it looks like in Q&A you can copy and paste. So now that we have a blue button with white text, this button is a little different from this button. This has rounded edges, and the edges, well, it's a little small, so I can't tell if it's black or dark blue, but it looks a dark bluish to me. So I'm going to change the border of it, so it's more round and yeah, and darker. So for the submit button, what I'm going to say is that its border should be maybe 1 pixel, dark blue, and solid. And yeah, that's a better looking border, but it is still not rounded. So going to make it rounded by specifying a border dash radius and making it, I don't know, maybe 5 pixels. Yay, now I have a round button. Nice. So that newsletter sign up form is starting to look like the way I want it to look. One other thing is that this here has a little space inside there. So I'm going to give it inside space. Previously, with these other elements, we specified margin. And if you think about margin in regards to HTML elements, that's the outside space, so the space between the elements. But if I want to create space inside an element, then I have to use a different rule, and I'm going to use the padding. Well, I pad the insides of these of this submit button with some space, let's say 5 pixels of space as well. Well, it looks all right. It looks better a little bit, but it's not on the sides. So the padding was successful, but it should not be equal on top and on bottom and on the sides as well. So I'm going to use the same 4-number format to change it. Yeah, so I'm going to use 5 pixel on the bottom. If you guys remember, 5 pixels, the first is for the top. The next one is for the left. So I'm going to use maybe 10 pixels here. And I'm going to use 10 pixels on the right as well. So yeah, now I have a much better looking submit button. that I did not have previously. All right. Well, my sign up form pretty much looks like the way I want it to look. It is, well, almost the same as this one. All right, the text is maybe a different font, but it has all the style. It's in all that order that I wanted to create it in, and it has all the space. The next things that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys some JavaScript to maybe calculate some things, to work just in general JavaScript code. And after that, we are going to upload it to upload our form to ServiceNow, and we are going to put make it functional, so make it save our first names and emails. So we are going to do that right after we are going to hold a quick break now. And I would like to ask you guys to log in to your ServiceNow accounts during the break and wake up your instances. The email that went out to every participant has already told you how to go through the registration process. So I'm assuming you guys have already done that, but you might have done it a little while ago, so your instances might be sleeping. So what I would like you to do during the break is go to developer.servicenow.com, where you should see, if you're not signed in, this this UI. And yeah, sorry, it might reload first if you sign out, and sign in. Use your credentials that you used during your account creation. Click next, type in your password. This should be easy stuff. And that's going to put you in this page where you can click start building, but do not click start building, but go to your account and check if when you click change user role under the instance sections, if you have admin selected. If you do not have admin selected, you will have a bad time when you try to follow along after the break. So yeah, just make sure during the break that you log in to your ServiceNow account and check if you are an admin. So all right, let's hold now a 9-minute break until 8 o'clock. So coming back at 8 o'clock, going to put a timer at chat. All right. Hi, guys. I'm back. Please, if you can hear my voice and still see my screen, put a 1 in chat. Good. All right. So let's hop back into, into CodePen for now. And let's talk a little bit about JavaScript. So we are on the internet. We are editing documents, HTML documents with CSS and well, on the internet and in browsers, the most common programming language that you are going to find, well, the only one basically, is going to be JavaScript. Well, this does not mean that you cannot do stuff for web development in other languages. You can definitely do a lot of backend stuff in different languages, but for frontend and for general work with web pages, the most common is going to be JavaScript. And what I'm going to do here is show you guys a few lines of JavaScript, how to make JavaScript do some basic stuff. In order to see the results of what we're doing with the JavaScript code, open the console part of CodePen. So on your screen, under your web page that you have created, there is this button, the console button. Click that. And when you clicked it, it should open a new panel. So our panels are getting kind of numerous. We have a few now, but it should be manageable. If you want, you can collapse it. Currently, we don't have to see our website, not for this one. So I am going to collapse my CSS now. I don't need it, and write some JavaScript code here. If I want to, to say something, to make JavaScript say hello, I'm going to use the one command that every JavaScript developer uses way too often, perhaps a little more than they should, is console.log. Console.log is just going to print anything that you write into the curly, well, not the curly, the braces at the end. So console.log and then opening and closing bracket. And in there, you can write text if you put quotation marks around it. So for example, hello. And whenever our code runs, our console prints hello. Hey, if you could make the console say hello, put a 1 in chat. Yeah, Miriam, if you got that syntax error, expected expression got curly brace, then you probably need to recheck what you wrote in there. There is going to be a typo somewhere that's not completely what you meant to write here. So we are using regular braces, so not curly braces like with CSS, but regular braces. JavaScript and most programming languages are very particular about which braces you use. So do not mess up the curly and the regular braces. Okay. And well, it's nice to write out some text, but we can do one better. We can write out basically anything we want. Yeah. Microvite in the JSON. Yeah. So if you've got it typed twice, that is going to be because if you make an edit here, it's going to rebuild or rerun the whole comments here that's been put to the JavaScript window, and the console is permanent. So the console is always there. If you write hello to it, again, if I write something hello 4 or something like that, and there is changes here, it's gonna show up here, and it's not gonna delete this hello. So if I want to get rid of that, I will have to I will have to click the clear button here. So that's going to clear my window here, my console window here. So I can write text here. That's great and all. But if I want to write something else, for example, I am a mathematician and I am holding a lecture about some very complex calculations, and I want to write the result of that calculation, I can do that too. I can definitely do some math with JavaScript, and I'm going to do just that. So in the console.log, I can do, for example, 3 plus 5. And whenever that runs, it's just going to print 8. Because what's in here is an expression. It's 3 plus 5. So it's not going to print the characters 3 and the plus sign and the 5, but rather it's going to print the actual result of that expression. It's going to go and calculate the number that's in there, and it's gonna do it's gonna just give us the result. So maybe I would like to use not an addition but a subtraction. I can do minus as well, and then whenever it's done its calculation, that's going to -2. Well, that's great. If I wanna do, I can do maybe division. So I can say 3 divided by 5 is 0.6. That's awesome. And I can definitely do multiplication as well. So I can do 3 times 5. And yeah, quickly, I'm gonna have an uncaught syntax error here whenever I didn't have anything in there, probably. But after that, yeah, it's gonna give me 15 because 3 times 5 is 15. So yeah, JavaScript, very powerful, but could it do more? I'm going to introduce a new concept to you guys now. And that concept is what we use a lot in programming. It's variables. Now, what are variables? Variables are a container. So for example, if I had a big number, so if I have like maybe this number, which is very big, and I wanted to use it multiple times. Well, of course, I could Control-C, Control-V a lot of times, and yeah, use it in multiple places. But well, I don't want to do that. I just want to have a name for it, a name for this number that is easier to remember than 8,604,000, whatever this is. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a variable for it. I'm going to say that this is a var, so var as variable. And I'm going to give it a name as big number. And I'm going to say that big number is equal to, well, yeah, I'm not going to say that number. It's way too big. But from here on out in my code, instead of this number, I can just say, yeah, let's put big number here. And it's still going to give me the same number when I times it by 5. So when I multiply it by 5. But now I did not have to remember this one. I just have to remember big number. And well, programming is for humans to talk to the computer. So it is for me very much easier to remember big number than the sequence of these. For the computer, it's the same. It's basically the same amount of characters. It's really not that difficult, but for me it is. So I would like to have a variable so as to keep in mind the computer will know this number instead of me. So hey, that's really good. And yeah, I did use numbers so far only for everything that I did with JavaScript. Well, I also did text a little bit. If you remember, I said hello, and I did put the text in quotation marks, and that is because whenever I put text into JavaScript code, most of the time is going to think that it's a keyword, so it's something like var, so variable, or maybe a return or a for or something, but these are just teasers for you guys to look into if you want to. Or it is a variable name. So whenever I just use text normally, then it's going to think that it has some kind of special meaning. If I want to use just text and I want to put it as a value into a variable, then I can say that there is a variable and I'm going to call it text. And these variables that are called text are actually, in programming, we call them strings. So that's it's an array of characters. So it's a character sequence, a string. So it's going to be some text. So hello world, that's just my text. So these are the two big types of variable types here in JavaScript. And there's a third one, which is maybe a little easier to grasp, but a little different from these ones, because these ones can contain any type of number. It can contain a decimal or whatever you want, a number, and these can contain any type of text. So yeah, even alphanumeric text that has numbers in it. There's a third one that's going to contain whether something is true or false. So there is var, and these are called Boolean variables, which are either true or, well, yeah, they can be false. And they should, two variables should not have the same name. So I'm just gonna call bool1, bool2. And I can definitely console log these as well too. So instead of console logging big number, now I'm just gonna console log text. Yeah, see, whatever I put it in there, it's console logging at the line 7, and it's saying, well, there you go. And I can console log Boolean variables as well. So I can say console log that bool, and it's gonna give out true. Well, now, so far, we interacted a little bit with our numbers and our text. Well, we didn't really interact with our text. We just console logged that text. But maybe if our text was a little shorter, so it could be just hello. And if we had another variable that's also text, but it's text2 maybe, and it's world, there's a pretty cool thing that we can do in JavaScript, and that is we can console log 2 variables at the same time, and we can put them together. And well, it's same as adding 2 numbers, but we can add 2 text variables, so 2 string variables. So if I say, let's console log text, and I put a comma and text2, then it should console log both of them. So it's hello world. Isn't that nice? Well, what I can also do is, well, add them together actually with a plus sign. And then that will console log them together. Hello world in one sentence. Well, isn't that great? So yeah, these are variables, Booleans and numbers. Let's see if we can maybe connect our JavaScript code a little bit to our HTML. This is not something that we would usually want to do, but I guess we have like 40 minutes left. So yeah, let's do this in this workshop. Let's say that we want to put maybe our hello world, so our text and text2 together in somewhere in our website. Of course, yeah, we can definitely just say, yeah, let's say here in the p tag on the first one, just, oh yeah, I'm writing here, hello world. Yeah, but come on, we are programming here. That's boring. Let's do something a lot more cool. So in our JavaScript code, what we can do is get a certain element from the page, from the HTML page, and modify it in some way, in any way we want. Well, to do that, what we're gonna want to do is first target it. So same as the CSS, we're gonna want to find that element and then do something to it. So if we are looking for a single one, so a single element, again, the method that we learned to do that with is the ID. So I'm going to give it an ID in the HTML, just so my job is easier. It can definitely be done without IDs, but that's harder. So, you know, I'm not gonna bother with it. And I'm going to go and give this I tag, so this italic tag, an ID that is, let's say text. So I have this ID in my I tag, And I'm going to use that through some JavaScript magic to modify the text that is in that HTML element. So I'm going to say, and write this down exactly if you want to follow me, because if you make a typo here, it's definitely going to break. So say document dot get element by ID, get element by ID, brackets, and in the brackets, if you see an error in the console, just ignore that until we do this. So quotation mark in the element by ID. So in the brackets, say the same that you said the ID was. So it's going to be text. I'm going to say text here. This line is telling JavaScript to go look through the document that we have here and look for any element, so any tag with the ID text. And if you found it, well, I guess the possibilities are endless from here. We can do whatever we want with it. But for now, let's just do very simple. Let's overwrite what's in the text. So instead of fill the form to receive awesome updates, let's write dot. Well, we are not writing yet. We are going to have one more thing to write at here. So we are going to have dot inner text. And after this inner text, let's say it's equal. So we are going to make this, whatever this long line is, equal to something. And now we can write any text here that we would like. Let's say you have been JavaScripted. This way, the JavaScript can influence what's on the HTML for the website. Obviously, this is something that has a very huge depth behind. So it's not just, all right, well, we're writing something here instead of writing it here, and therefore something. But this is just a sneak peek into how JavaScript can manipulate HTML pages. And later on, if you have time, and if you come to our course, we are going to show you how to manipulate it even further. So that's probably it from JavaScript. And what we're going to do now is we are going to head over into our ServiceNow instances. So what you should do is keep this tab open. So do not close CodePen, because we are going to need our HTML, maybe our CSS too, we can use that later. And we are going to copy this, but not just yet. So keep it open. Let's go to ServiceNow, and I've been signed out, it seems. So that's a very good place to show you. Well, no, I have not been signed out, but you know, sign into ServiceNow, and whenever you've signed in, you made sure that you changed your user role to admin instead of App Engine Studio creator if it's your first time logging in. And then you can click the Start Building button. And that should put you, well, onto a similar page than mine is. I've done some minor modifications. I played around with my my personal developer instance before, so it looks a little different than yours, but it should definitely look similar. You should have a big window in the middle, and you should have this navigator, so this very big and comprehensive list of stuff that you, and a lot of that I don't even understand right now, but it's a list of things we can do with ServiceNow. If you were able to log into ServiceNow, put a 1 in chat. All right, it looks like a lot of you were able to log in. I think Ramon needs some help. If you need help, then please describe your situation in the Q&A panel. So the the Zoom user interface has a Q&A panel right next to the chat panel. And there you can ask questions, and our mentors will help you out with your problem. Okay, so what are we going to do in ServiceNow? Well, we're going to do two things. We are going to create a place for our first names and emails that we have collected to live. So we are going to store data into our ServiceNow instance. And we are going to create a page that is going to collect these data. And to create that page, we are going to use our code that we have created before in CodePen to style that page and to make it look like our form that we have just created in CodePen. So this is why it's called low-code development, because some stuff is automated, but other stuff is not. So we have to do some coding, but not all. So next thing, if you can use some, yes, Florian, I think, have already put the ServiceNow link into the chat. So if you guys are logged in to your instance, then the first thing is to create the place where the data lives. And in software development, our databases, and more closely, where a type of data lives, is what we call a table. A table looks like something that you guys are probably familiar with. So think of it as Excel sheets. Whoops, yeah. So if you remember an Excel sheet, how it looks like, it has columns and it has rows. And in the columns, it stores a certain type of entry. For example, it stores a field, stores an email, or it stores an address or an ID or something like that. We can use a column to store, for example, our emails, and use another column to store our first names. So this is what we're going to create. It's table. So this is exciting. In ServiceNow, to create a table in the system, we're just going to head over to this part the filter navigator, and we're just gonna say tables. If you say tables, you are going to have a little more results than what is comfortable, but bear with me. Just go to the system definition module, and click the tables menu. So click this tables menu. So what we did, again, for those that could not quite get here yet, is we wrote tables up here in the filter navigator to filter all these search results. So tables. And we scroll down to the system definition module. And in here, we clicked to the tables module menu, I guess. So whenever we click the tables menu, wow, we see a table. Oh, damn. So yeah, most of these modules are going to open tables for us, which have columns where we can keep track of what entries, what records are there in that table. So this is the tables table, which keep tracks of what tables are there in our ServiceNow instance. Yeah, so if everyone's here, put a 1 in chat if you see the same thing that I see. Oh yeah, if your tables are slightly different, don't worry about that. It's fine. What I want you to see is that you have a tables text here, a new button here, and some table records in here. Okay, that's cool. So if we have these results, I see Veronica may get your instances offline. If your instance is offline, you need to log in the developer side. So developer.servicenow.com first. So that's what you should. That's where you should log in first. All right. So if you see your tables, then what I would like you to do is to click New. And that's going to put you onto a form, which is a little more complex than the one that we just created. It has way many more input fields, but it works in a similar way that would like you to fill in some data in order to create the table. So it's new. So if you're on the table, you should click New, the blue New button on top. All right. And if you are here, I want you to do exactly 4 things. So one is fill in this label and say sign up. Yeah. Then I would like you to double click this column label, insert a new row text here. So double click it. It's going to come up with a little edit box. And here you should only say first name or first name. You can have it in capital letter, and you can have a space in between there. And then you can click save. And then after you're done, I would like you to do that again. So insert another row and call that email. And with this, believe it or not, if you followed exactly what I did, we are done. So this is going to create a storage for our first names and emails in our database. Because ServiceNow is so cool, they are providing us with a database whenever we sign up for an instance. So if you're done and you have your first name column and your email column, then click submit, and that will create the table. All right. So if you are not sure whether your table was created, what you can do is here in the search bar under label, you can say star and sign up. And if you click enter after, you are going to see that you have one sign up table. Yeah. There's a question. Yes, I think it was just answered, Ramon. Yeah. So you do not have to get you do not have to get big money. That's a customization that I made to my instance. So instead of the ServiceNow logo, I have my own here. That's just style something that's not gonna be important for the rest of the thing. Mm-hmm. All right. So whenever we're done and we have our no sign up table, if you are not able to follow along with this part of the workshop, it is going to be recorded, and you can go over it step by step if you would like to try the remaining ones. But the next thing, what we are going to do is we are going to create the page that we are going to look at, where we can actually send in our signups. So these things in ServiceNow are called UI pages, and you can put into the application navigator. So on the right up here, you can write UI pages, and you can go to System UI pages. Is going to be the only search result that you find if you write UI pages completely. And you can click that, and it is going to put you on another table. Whenever you're on this table, the next thing you should do is to create a new UI page. Same as before with the table, if you are on the UI page table, then you can hit new up in the corner. So the blue button, or might be green for some people. And this is where you create a UI page. And you are going to see some mildly familiar things here. So we also have 3 code windows here, same as in CodePen or similar. And one says HTML. What I would like you to do now is to head over to CodePen and copy all of your HTML code from CodePen and put it into the UI page that we just created. Do not delete any code that ServiceNow has already put in there, but inside these weird looking JJelly tags, just copy in your code. Darnia asks, how do I get to the UI page part? Well, you can get to the UI page part. Yeah, that is fine. If in this filter navigator up on the left side, you write UI pages, it's best. Then you will see System UI and UI pages. If you click UI pages, that's going to put you onto the table. And there you can create a new one. Great. So whenever we are on the on this UI page, if now we give it a name, and it should be something simple that you can remember. So maybe sign up and save it. So submit. Then we're gonna get a little error that says the element BR tag must be terminated by the matching end tag. So remember how I said like BR tags, they don't need a closing tag? Well, in ServiceNow they kind of do. So what I'm gonna do is just put a closing tag to the end of that BR tag. And I think that's going to be enough for us today. And we can say save or submit with the blue button. All right, and now it's accepted. Now, if we go into another, well, do not go yet. So next thing we should do is copy the instance URL that we have. So go up to your browser's search bar and just copy the address to your instance. Do not copy the long part after the address that you do not need. Only copy https dev something.servicenow.com. That's the only part we need. And if you go to a new tab and copy paste that in there, and you write sign up, sign up after, then you should see that, hey, that's kind of like my my sign up form from earlier. But well, it's the styling, the CSS is missing. So we're going to have to add that in there. So how do you get the link? So nice. Thank you, Tom, for putting the one in already. What shall you copy? Yes. So go back to your ServiceNow instance. Just any page will do. And in your browser's search bar, if you go up, you should copy your instance's address from that search bar. So it's going to be https://dev, then a random number. So basically all you need is that all you need is that 5 numbers, and then servicenow.com. That's it. And then whenever you go to a new page, you can just write /signup after. So the same thing that you named your UI page as. And yeah, that's the name. Then it's going to show you just what we created before. If it says it's not found, that is probably because either there's a character missing, or you did not completely write sign up, or something along the same line. So it's case sensitive. If you wrote it with big or capital letters, it's going to need capital letters. Okay, so next thing is we can also copy over our CSS code here. So because ServiceNow has some ideas about how a page should look, not all of the CSS code is going to work the same as it's working here, but most of it is. So if you copy all of your CSS code, then you can move that over to your UI page if before your H1, so before the newsletter sign up form, you do a little edit, you create a style tag and a style closing tag. And you copy and paste all that CSS between here. Okay, it does not have to look completely pretty right now. It's fine if you just leave it as is. And what it's highlighting with red here is that it's not gonna like this display equals swap part. So just delete that. And you can delete the end character, so this ampersand as well. But you can skip this if you don't want to, like importing the style is not crucial for what we're trying to do here, but I think it's nice. So if we go ahead and save now and go back to the UI page, and refresh, then hell yeah, our sign up form looks like just almost as it looked in CodePen. Yeah, so okay, and now that's on a website, so that's like you guys know it's starting to come alive. And what we want to do is when we put our names and emails here, then it should save them somewhere in ServiceNow, and that somewhere is if you have created the sign-up table, then in the sign-up, if you go back to any ServiceNow window where you have the navigator, then you can search for sign-up. And there's going to be a sign-ups menu. Where to insert CSS, how to save it with CSS. All right, we can quickly go over that, but we are kind of running out of time here, guys. So in your UI page, and by the way, if you lost your UI page, the way to find it is go to the filter navigator here on the right, say UI pages. Click that UI pages and search for sign up in the list. If you do not have, if you do not have the sign up on top for some reason, you can under the name field or up here, if you select the name one, then you can say star and sign up, and that's going to result you with your sign up page. Yeah, okay. And in here, for you to be able to copy in the CSS, you have to put it enclosed, so in between style tags. Yeah, so before your HTML code, you have to create a style tag and just copy it in there. And it should probably work. Maybe if you omit the import statement, it's going to make your job a little easier. Yes, Martina, that error is because there was an end display equals something here. You should delete that. So that end display part, you don't need that if that's in there. So yeah. Now, one last thing that we need in order for our signups to be saved is a little more so it's going to have to look like a little more JavaScript is going to be used. And here again, what I kind of need you guys to do is just write the exact same thing that I'm writing and believe that the code will do what it does. So it's going to be var, let's say sign up. It's just a new variable name, equals new glide record. And in quotation marks, we're gonna do incident. If we have this line, then the next one is going to be sign up dot u and small u underscore first underscore name equals first name, just like this. And going to have two more lines of code. Bear with me. We are very, very close to the end. Is sign up dot u underscore email equals email. And one last row of code is going to be sign up dot insert. So sign up dot insert and braces after that. And it's giving us a little yellow error or warning, I guess. You can put a semicolon after there to get rid of that error. I am going to put this code in chat too, or maybe I can put it in Q&A. So going to open questions. Oh, but I cannot answer a question. All right, so I cannot create a question because I'm a panelist. So going to put that in the chat. So this should be put under the processing script tab. So make sure it's under processing script and not client script. Yeah. Okay. And if we have that, I'm going to save this. And if you cannot copy from the chat, if you quickly do a question on Q&A with something like, please give me the, the processing script, I can put that in there. Yep, there we go. Yes. So it's going to be the last answered Q&A question for Veronica. I put that in there. It should be available for everyone. And so now if we save the UI page, it's going to, well, hopefully it's going to save our first names and the emails whenever we click and submit that form. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to say it's Borna, my first name, and my email is my email. Please don't spam me. And then I'm going to hit submit. And yeah, it looks like it reloaded, so that's a good sign. And I'm going to go back to my service now and look for the signups that I have created, the signups table that I have created. So in the filter navigator, I'm going to say sign up, and I'm going to click the signups menu, and and it's not found for some reason. Hello? All right, so I do have the signup.list. So I'm just going to do some quick troubleshooting. Yes, so I have my signup lists. how is this not working is beyond me, but if you're looking for your signups table, you can do u underscore signups.list. And it's gonna put you there. Well, it should. Wait, u underscore sign up list. What? I'm sorry. Just going to go back to tables real quick. Tables. Oh, it's sign up. So it's only sign up. So u underscore sign up on list. And my sign up is unfortunately not here. That's probably because I made a little typo in my, not typo, sorry, it's force of habit. I created this code for the wrong table. So just going to replace it in the processing script. I'm going to replace the first line on the new glide record line with u underscore sign up. And going to save it. And whenever that's saved, it now should probably work. So going back to the form, I'm saying my name is Barnabas this time, and my email is this one. I'm gonna submit that and look at my signups list. And they are not here. Just quickly asking my mentor colleagues if they have spotted my mistake. It should work.
Sorry, can you go back to the code? I was answering to the questions.
Oh yeah, sorry, I know. There is one additional thing that I forgot to change, is that I have to change the form tags on my ServiceNow page to G. Yep. Thanks, Steffi. That's good. To G double colon and UI underscore form. Yeah. GUI form. Yeah, instead of form, I'm going to change that to this and save it. And after a while, this should GUI form, that's the one. This has, and it's still not putting it in there. I swear I had this down before. Yeah. So UI form, is UI form the correct? Yeah, we could try. Okay, input is email, first name is correct. No, I think now is only a typo somewhere. First name, email, sign up, record, u underscore. That's really great if it works works for you guys, but why is it not working for me? Hey. Wait, did I just not? No, I did refresh. Wait, oh, I know. It's probably because I did not refresh the UI page. Well, it could be. Yeah, there we go. All right, so if it does not work, make sure you refresh your UI page as well. It could definitely be that. So yeah, that's about it. And don't worry if you didn't get it, your emails and first names are not saving yet to your service now. You can go over the recording later. We are going to send the link to the recording to everyone in a follow-up email. So thanks everyone. That's about all we had time for today. And I guess have a nice have a nice night of sleep. May I give it back to Miriam? No?
Yep.
Sorry, can't hear you.
Can you hear me? No.
For me, it is okay.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
it's on my side. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Barna, for leading us through this workshop. Also, thanks to all other mentors who were answering the whole time on chat. And of course, big thank you for all of you who were here today with us. It was great with you, and I'm happy that you made it. So thank you, and you will hear from us tomorrow latest. So thank you and enjoy your night and evening. Bye.